Hi, everybody. It's Fred Oduyoye and Rick Lawrence talking about reachable reconciliation again. And just to, as our little on ramp here, as we always do, we talk about the 5 R's that Fred has sort of pioneered in this space. And we're in such a divisive space right now that there's never, I don't think in my lifetime, there's ever been a time where we needed the tools that Fred is talking about than now. Because we have to find a relational way through the place that we're in. And the 5 R's are reactions. So exploring our own reactions and the reactions of others and how those play into the context. Reflection, where we really step back for a second to really reflect on what the problem really is and figure out a way forward at that point. How might we reconcile? And then moving into repairs. Now that we're ready, what do we do to actually repair this? Reaching means reaching within and beyond our circles to reach truer reconciliation. And then relationships, sort of the 5th R, kind of hovers over everything. Today, we want to talk about the R of repairs. And one of the things you have talked about, Fred, is that, which sounds like common sense, but then think about this for a second. You can't repair without tools. You can't make a repair without a tool of some kind. And you and I were talking a little bit about little work projects that we have in the role that tools play. And maybe you could talk a little bit about, metaphorically, what is the role tools play in repairing anything?
Yeah, and so this past weekend, I decided, you know what? I need to do something different with my desk area where I sit and have these Zoom calls and meetings. So I decided I'm going to rearrange my desk. When I mean rearrange my desk, Rick, I mean I'm going to shift it in a different position. I'm going to move my computers around differently. I got to change my speakers around. I got to get my ring light different. I got to get, my microphone set differently, all of that. And so in the process, I realized that I needed to repair may not be it, but I needed some tools, because when I had it shaped the one way, all my cords were compact and kind of these rings on the back of my desk. So now I needed to move these cords on the other side so they're not showing as much, when people come in the house. Now, the whole idea of this was not just because I wanted to do something different. Sure, I did. I needed a different spin, in my room, but also I wanted to make it easier for myself to be able to connect to others when I'm on the screen. And so kind of rearranging this would make it easier for me to have things at hand so that I could communicate with others. And so in trying to get these cords set, I need to go to a toolbox, right? What's interesting about the toolbox is all the tools are in one space. You know what I mean? Like the tools share each other. Sure, you can go to the store and say, I need a Phillips head, but it's really neat when you open up a toolbox and everything's right there. And, it's like, oh, wow, which one do I pick? So I knew I needed a Phillips to go ahead and unscrew and rescrew and those kinds of things. And the parallel that's neat with that is when we seek to repair, we're actually saying it's more important for us to have all our tools together. People, right? Because people are resources. We don't realize that. But if all of us were together in a box, all right, the box of the kingdom, if we can imagine what relationship really looks like, our tools become unlimited. It's like me looking in the toolbox, like, oh my gosh, I've got everything here. But we don't realize that when we're serving by ourselves, or we're serving out of our own energy or out of our own tools that we think are enough to cover any space. So in the model you're talking about, the reachable reconciliation model, what's neat is that the relationship piece of the bridge allows us to interact as, we think about reacting and reflecting and repairing and reaching. The relationship piece, as you shared, is interactive in all those spaces. So even when I worked at a previous organization, I mean, we had the best team. It was an urban, team. And here's what's great about it is we realized that the closer we were in relationship, the greater, resources we had available to give, because all of our tools in the kingdom were put together side by side, because we were building the relationship, right? So one person's reactions were the other person's reactions. One person's, reflections were the others, and so forth and so on, because we were together building the relationship. And so we had an abundance of tools. What made us, we looked like 100 people on a staff. We were only 12. And that is the value of being able to, for this analogy, the more we build, the more we repair, let's put it that way, right? The more we repair, meaning let's find what all our tools look like in the box together, the greater opportunity we'll have to build communities.
Yeah, that's really good. I was thinking about, as you were sharing too, that I know that this is something you sort of learned along the way, but you involved Chris Cox, a close friend of yours, who's a white man, in coaching and in diving into divisive environments, because not that Chris is a tool, but the relationship the two of you have together creates different possibilities for you when you're in mixed groups of people. The fact that you and Chris can relate to each other as you're relating to the group becomes like the Phillips head that you needed. To turn the screw that you needed in that environment. Is that right?
Oh, that's actually a great point there, because as a person of color, when I enter into spaces, especially where it's, maybe all white mainstream, I only have the tools that I possess by myself on the other end. But as you shared, Chris talked about how important it is for it not to be just one person communicating, but what does it look like if he joined me in that space? Now our toolbox looks bigger. And because our toolbox gets bigger when we're connected with someone else, then those looking at us want more of that. You know what I mean? They want to be in that toolbox as well.
Yeah, it's the same way. I was trying to fix something the other day, and it was a Phillips head screw, and I had on hand a small Phillips head screwdriver, and it wasn't big enough. And I'm sitting there thinking, I don't want to go out to the garage and get the other one. I'm just going to make this work. And after about 30 seconds, I thought, this is stupid. All I have to do is go get the right tool.
Yeah.
And as soon as I do, this job is going to go a lot faster. So that's what I did. And it sounds simple, but I just think about the illustration you just made in your partnership with Chris. It's the same thing. Now that you have him partnering with you in some of these environments, you have the right size Phillips head to turn some of the screws you need to turn. It just works then.
Well, that's why the vine is so great, right? Because when we connect with each other, right, in scripture, we connect back to the vine. So it's not us, it's God who, he sends out, the tools that are needed. He resources out of our connection with each other. So just like you and I, because I'm connected to you, Rick, I don't have to have a tool that you have, but I have the benefit together, right?
Yeah.
We share tools that can resource others, right?
That's so good. And so to take from this, to close this off, we know that we're in need of repair in church culture and the culture at large. The tools for that repair are all relational. And I love how you said, try to gather all of the tools you need in one toolbox so they're available to you. And that means thinking about the people around you and inviting people in to this process of repairing. The more of their gifts and abilities and influence and presence, the better you can turn the screw, whatever needs to be turned in your environment. So
Sure,
Thanks.
it's something simple, an apology, you know what I mean? A reaching out to resolve something that was left unsettled. I mean, any situation that had a divide, the act, taking a step towards repairing it allows you to connect back relationally. As you're saying now, we're repairing, and then our toolbox gets better.
It's good. So good. Well, if you want to hear more about this, or even better, get Fred involved in your situation. To talk about getting the right tool at the right time. If you've felt frustrated and stymied by progress in this arena in your own church culture and your own organizational culture, get the right tool. Invite Fred and maybe even Chris into your environment to help turn that screw. So you can look down below this video for ways to connect with Fred and at least have a conversation with him and see if there's some way that Fred might be able to help you in your context. We'll see you again next time.
Yeah, thanks.